Welcome, everybody. We're going to do something a little new today. I am in the parking lot of the Hustler Casino. I have just finished playing my random, Monday night session. I actually went to before I get into what I did, I'm going to get into what I'm going to do, which is a little trip report. This little post-session trip report. I have never used this microphone before, but I bought it like maybe a month or two ago. I was like, I need to start doing some live kind of content, in outside the house. I need to start making content that's not on my PC. And so that's what we're here doing. This light is a little bright though. It's like, do I really need the light? I don't know. Light is good, I guess. Light is good. But yeah, so sometimes maybe I'll do this when I'm driving home, but I figure right now I actually didn't really play that long of a session. So I don't need to rush home or anything. So I can just kind of chill and give you guys the trip report. But yeah, so I actually went to play on the Lucky Lady live stream tonight. And I can happily say, this is going to be really funny to say, I can report back. I had my first winning session ever on the live stream. I think I played for 3 hands or 2 hands or something before the game broke. I sat down, bought in, played 1 hand. I think I was the straddle or whatever. Did I straddle? Yeah, I straddled. Was it raised or limp? I forget. I don't even remember the hand. I think it was just limp to me, honestly. And then I just checked. I had ace deuce off, flopped the top pair, bet a couple times, won a little pot, and that was my little pot. I won it, and then that means I'm a winner on the game of the day. I won $10 in the day, which is great because my last time there I lost $1,000, and the time before that I lost a few hundred or something. So that was cool. That was fun. But yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think. So that game broke, and then there was a 1-2 game going, and I was like, I can go, or I can wait for that, or I can just go to the Hustler. Hustler is literally right down the road. So if you guys are not aware of the California casino proximity, it's basically the Lucky Lady and the Hustler, which are owned by the same people, are right down the road from one another. So if you're gonna make the drive to one, you're kind of going to both. If I wanted to go somewhere different, closest to here would probably be the Bicycle, or I could head up north to the Commerce. But for me, the bike is probably the closest. Then if I wanted to go somewhere differently altogether, I probably could have gone Gardens or something tonight. But I like coming up here. I like seeing all this. And plus on Wednesday, the Lucky Lady is getting a real stream setup. They're testing it out for the first time, RFID and everything. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. They're going to have a little stream kind of party, they said, so to speak, come die. They're going to have a little extra food, little extra drinks, that kind of thing. And on a Wednesday, that's not normally their day. So I'm kind of excited to go down there and check that out. But all I did was I head out to the Hustler, played for maybe 2 hours, played some PLO. It's funny. I played another hold'em table for literally 2 hands, 1 hand, and then they called me for PLO. So that was cool to actually play some actual live PLO that wasn't double board bomb pot. Because I've played a lot of live PLO this year, but it's all been double board bomb pot games. So to actually play pre-flop and in a blind structure, straddling, not straddling, that whole thing, pretty good, pretty cool. My session overall was fine. I kind of started off pretty hot, and then just nothing after that. I think my first hand was maybe 2 or 3 hands. Actually, my very first hand at the table, I got dealt ace, king, queen, 10 of diamonds, and I was like, oh wow, what a beautifully ugly hand, because it's you don't want to be cutting into your own suits, but it's man, I'm 1 card off of a royal flush in my hand, so it's gonna look beautiful regardless. But from an actual playability, it'd be nice if say the ace and the 10 were the one suit, and then the king and the queen were another suit. But I digress. First hand, we don't really get anything. We raise pot, yada yada. Get a few calls, don't connect, fold. The very 2 or 3 hands later, we actually get dealt ace, 6-6 with a suit, and one person who had a lot of chips, maybe 500-600 at the time, he opens to 19 or so, I believe. I repot to 60 something or whatever the amount was, and he calls. We go heads up, and I believe I have 120 or so left, and I just jam the flop of it wasn't very, it was low, not there was a straight draw on the board, and the 6 was one of the cards, so I did actually flop a set, but I didn't even notice at first. I was oh, I'm just gonna go with my aces, it was that disconnected enough, whereas aces was still fine. But then I looked back, I was oh wait, I have those 2 6s. So homie ended up hemming and hawing, and he was just hemming and hawing the hand before, and he kind of was doing the thing where his hands kind of out front, he's ready to fold, he's almost very certainly clearly gonna fold, and I'm bro, I got it. I looked at him, bro, I got it, we're good, just fold, and he's yeah, I don't know, and he shows red queens or something, and then folds, and I show him my aces, and then I show him the set of 6s, and I'm all right, yeah, man, you're good to fold. I don't mind trying to get a little bit of good faith in the first time around, when I just join a table. For me, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I'm not super close to the vest about it all. I'm gonna try to show down everything I can. If I can get a chance to get in a good bluff, I'll try to show a good bluff. If I can get in some good value, I'll try to show good value, and just go from there, whereas if you show down a couple strong hands in a row, then the next time you bet really big, people are gonna give you credit for a strong hand. So you can actually, and in a game like Omaha where you actually can bluff. You know, there was a few players there who were reading the board and the hands, and you know, when the nuts were changing dramatically, they were able to fold their, like, you know, they can fold a straight when the flush comes in, they can fold their flush when the boat comes in, like that kind of thing. So when you can play against those types of players, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad because like they're relatively straightforward, and you just need to rely on your equity at that point. Which from there, I had one other good hand where I believe, let's see, I can't really remember my holding. I think it was ace-7, queen something, ace and 7 were the relevant cards of clubs. And long story short, I flopped a flush draw, c-bet, couple players called, turned the nuts, continued betting, couple calls, river stayed the nuts, continued betting, one person folded, they said they had 2 pair, another person called with actually the guy who I 3-bet before. He was like, this time he was like, I got a flush, but you got a better flush, right? And I looked at him like, I can't tell you this time. I think I bet like 80 on the river into, I bet 45 on the turn, so for 120, it's about 200 in the pot, and I bet about 80 on the river. And I was like, yeah, I can't tell you this time, bro, I'm sorry. And it actually looked kind of like, what's the word? I didn't want to bet too much, of course, because, you know, I don't know if you guys are aware, but when you play the 1-3 game at Hustler, it's only $1 chips. So you can only play the $100 chips and $1 chips. No $5 chips, no $25 chips. So basically, like, we're all kind of playing racks and playing like racks of ones and this and that. Like, you might have a couple $100 chips flying around, but it's mostly $1 chips at the table. So I just like took the top rack off of my stack, which happened to be $80, which was what I wanted to bet anyway. But so like it kind of looks like, oh, I'm just betting this rack. And the guy he tanked for like, honestly, like 3 seconds before calling with like an 8-high flush, show him my nut flush. And that was like the only other pot, literally, that I think we won the entire time. I'm pretty sure I went like another hour and a half, played a bunch of hands, didn't win a single other hand. I had one spot where I flopped top and bottom on an ace-9-5 board with a backdoor flush draw. So I had ace-5 with like a couple of hearts in my hand. And then the turn brought like it brought in a straight. So I want to say it brought in like an 8, and it brought in my flush draw as well. So I had like top and bottom with a flush draw, but my flush draw was only to the jack high. So there was basically the queen high and the king high still kind of in between because the ace was of the flush draw. And it ended up going like bet, raise, not too much raise on top. So like I had okay odds to call like once we got there, but I just wasn't quite sure if like my ace and 5 were good, if I was behind on the flush draw, this and that. So I ended up folding. That hand would have came and I would have won. So that's like the only other hand that I could have potentially even won. And that's if I made like a really loose kind of gamble and just, you know, got there basically. But, you know, I had one hand with top set, whereas like I just couldn't get there, couldn't fill up. The board came in connected and just couldn't fill up. So it's all good. But had like a really cool session, really fun session, met some fun people, cool people. Shout out to, I think the homie's name was Michael. Then I, met today, cool dude. And then I saw another guy at the at the Hustler who I met at the Lucky Lady before. At the stream game on the Lucky Lady, there was a couple of people there that, not only have I played with there before, but there was one guy who I actually played with here at the Hustler who was over there. So it's always fun to see people at different casinos that's like, wait, I know you, right? And it's like, yeah, but like not from here, not from right now, not even from like the last week or so or a month or so, and not even in this building, but I definitely know you. Like we've definitely played before. And that happens a lot in the SoCal area because it's kind of like there's a group of regulars, you know, and like a group of people who play poker, and they just kind of go different places and different casinos. So that was cool. That was fun. And I just kind of wanted to like do this, even though it wasn't like a super interesting session. Like trip report, like what I won like 140, 150 bucks, basically just off that nut flush. The game was 1-3, $200 buy-in. So it's like almost doubled up. I ended up cashing out and it took like 100 with me. And then I kept like 40 in $1 chips. I'm going to bring those back home. I'm going to be taking a trip back home to Massachusetts sometime in the near future. And I wanted to have some souvenir chips to bring with me. Like I actually have a bunch of MGM Springfield chips in my apartment / on me that I give to people when they're like, oh, I'm from that area, or I've been to that area, or I like that area, this and that. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, here, take a chip, take a Springfield chip. And a lot of people back home watch the Hustler stream out here. So I think they'll get a kick out of getting a Hustler chip or two. And I'm going to grab some Lucky Lady chips, which is just hilarious with the naked lady on them. Do I even have one on me? I would show you guys right now if you haven't seen the Lucky Lady chips before. But here, I can grab it out of my bag while I'm still yapping. But yeah, get a couple Lucky Lady chips. And then I want to make one more trip up to the Commerce Casino because I feel like the Commerce is like the last iconic set of chips that we still have like in SoCal right now. Like after the bike chips left, it's like they changed their chips. They're not iconic anymore. But yeah, all the Lucky Lady chips have, here, I'll see the $1 one. They all have the, where's the camera on this? They all have the naked naked lady on it, which is just so funny, bro. It's just so funny. And that I think is a good like novelty chip. So I'm gonna get some of those as well. And yeah, I got the Hustler ones tonight, and that's cool. So I'll bring those to the MGM Springfield, and I'll give those out next time I am up there. But I think that's about it for me today. I'm gonna go drive home and go see the Pupperoonie. Yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to like do this, and I'm gonna try and do this more often. And I might even try to do some like pre-game thoughts and this and that, like what I'm going to be working on tonight, what's in my brain, like what I feel like are my current weaknesses, and or even maybe my current strengths, like what I feel like I'm doing really well. Like from a live player perspective, one thing that I have just been getting better at over the last year and a half or so since I really came back to live and playing poker like for the most part full time is just getting better at my live reads and like judging people when they're being not dishonest, but like, when you're playing poker, like are they playing poker right now, or are they being straight up? And that's like a really big thing when it comes to live, because some people like, and I'm not gonna lie, I mean, if you play with me, like I'll just tell you this straight up, like I'm not really one of those players. Like I would never just say someone's like looks at me and they're like, do you got it? I would never be like, no, I don't, when I actually do. Like it's just, that's not part of my game. I just wouldn't say anything if that was my intention. I wouldn't say, yeah, I got it. I would just, if I didn't want to tell them something at that point in time, notice how I told you guys about a hand earlier today where the person said, oh man, it's like this and that. I'm like, bro, I already got the best hand. Like, you can just fold. And then the very next time when he said, you got a better flush, right? I didn't say no. I didn't say maybe or something coy. I just said, I can't tell you. Because that's like my personal preference of playing. Like, I don't want to try and balance my lies and this and that. It's easier for me to just tell the truth when I am telling the truth and let someone not judge me, but like judge the information that I'm giving them from there. Like, is he lying or is he not? Let them figure it out. But by just a little more straightforward, I feel like people are a little happier to gamble with you. They don't feel like as deceived when you're not, like when you're pulling these like random, like not angles, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe like hand motions or this or that, or things that are just like not straight up. Like I just play straight up, I let my strategy do the talking for me in terms of like, I don't need to pull some bullshit tricks to like try to win your money is like what I'm getting at. That's like my general game plan / what I try to portray to people is I'm here to play poker. My strategy is typically, I'm not going to tell them what my strategy is. I'll tell you guys what my strategy is. And if you ever happen to see me at the tables, you will happen to know, but it's basically just to play a pretty straightforward game. Where I get out of line, we talk about this in the Discord, is my value betting. Like I will value bet probably more thin than the average person. Certainly more thin than the average regular, but like my value bets are comparable to fish value bets, where sometimes they don't even know what the fuck they're doing. Like they don't even know if they're betting for value or not. They're just betting because they have like a card. They have like a jack, and the board's like ace, king, jack, 7, 4, and their jack matched the card, so they're gonna bet with it. And it's like they're not thinking about their opponent's range and what they can be called with it, and who was the PFR and who's got the range advantage and nut advantage and all that shit. They're not thinking about any of that. They're just thinking, I have a jack. There's a jack on the board. What's there in the middle? 100. I bet 40. That's how they think. That's how they operate. So I might do something similar to that, but because, of all the aforementioned, like the logic and the actual trying to read and get value from like really thin hands where it's like, oh man, I don't think you have the ace or the king or the jack. I think you have, where people think I'm polarized, where I'm all or nothing, where it's like, oh man, you either have the flush, you have nothing. It's like in those spots, very frequently, I do have quite a bit of stuff in the middle because I am willing to kind of like overexpose my value bets and go a little too thin. Whereas I just don't really go pure raw bluff usually, unless it's a game like Omaha where I can actually represent when the board changes and when the nuts change. And you can tell, once again, like when you can tell the people who play straight up, like they give away so much, man. They give away so much. So the deceivers, you just like know that they're always bullshitting you. They're always bullshitting you. And the people who play straight up, they're pretty much always playing straight up. Like maybe sometimes they'll try to get a little coy here and there, but for the most part, they're just kind of like playing their card, And I kind of hate to say that that's what I'm doing, but really what I'm doing is playing my cards, but not trying to give anything away in the way that these other people are, in terms of like maybe their demeanor, the way that they check, the way that they bet, the way that they hold their cards, like all those little things matter. And like, that's kind of what I mean when I say playing straight up. Like you'll notice some people who are like, they'll have their cards like out ready to fold. And for them, that means they're going to raise, and for some people, a lot of people, that genuinely means they're going to fold. And it's just figuring out who's who and putting them in their little boxes and figuring out, are they always like this? Are they going to get a little frisky when they maybe drink, when they're a little stuck, like, whatever. But that's, like the kind of stuff that I will talk about in some of my pregame recordings. But yeah, now we've already gone like almost 1.5x the original length, and I didn't actually add anything new about tonight. So I will leave you all with that. Thank you all so much. Love you all, and we'll see you very soon. Bye bye.